You're listening to Empowered to Lead, the Therapist Practice. I'm Lisa Catello, therapist, business coach, and your go-to for all things leadership and sustainable practice growth. This is your space for real talk, smart strategies, and grounded support to help you lead with confidence, work with intention, and build a business that actually works for you. Let's dive in. Welcome to Empowered to Lead, the podcast for Canadian group practice owners who want to lead with clarity, confidence, and intention. I'm Lisa Catello, and today we're diving into a foundational topic that influences everything in your group practice, which is getting clear on who you work with and who you work for. We're talking today about identifying your ideal client and your ideal therapist. This might sound like something you can figure out later, but trust me, this is where your leadership starts and continues. Why does this matter? A lot of practice owners start by taking whoever shows up, clients, therapists, admin staff, because growth feels urgent. You just want people coming through your door. But over time, if the people in your business don't align with your values or your energy, then resentment starts to build up. You feel like your business is running you instead of the other way around. Other people have more of a voice in what's happening, who you're serving, and you want to come back to what are your core values, which we talked about before. How do you want to show up as a leader, and who do you want on your team? When you don't define who you serve and who you work best with, then you end up with mismatches. You dread certain sessions, you avoid team meetings, or you feel drained by the culture in your space. So being intentional here with identifying your ideal client and your ideal therapist, it supports your marketing, it creates your systems, it builds your referral networks, it really defines your team structure and ultimately your culture. So let's zoom in on how you can get clear, starting with your ideal client. So in the group practice connection, we talk about your ideal client and we build that out. There's a worksheet that I offer in there that really asks some clarifying details. And here's some of the things that you want to consider on who is your ideal client for you to start with, and then considering what that means for your group practice. And sometimes that can be hard to do because, well, what if I bring in a variety of people on my team? So that's actually going to, if you start with that ideal client for the group practice, it starts to identifying who do I want on my team, who meets these needs, and who do I want to work with. So coming back, who is your ideal client? We're talking about so much more than just demographics and where they live, especially in this day and age, because people can live outside of your physical office. So you want to find out, what are they passionate about? What secret fear are they holding that no one else knows about? Why are they choosing counseling, and why do they want your group practice? How would they identify what's going on when they talk to their friends? You want to consider their ages, how old they are, and really what is their personality or their approach? These questions help you market authentically, and they shape an experience that feels tailored and grounded for the people that you truly want to help. When your clients align with your clinical style, your values, and your energy, you and your team get to do the best work possible. That's the kind of practice that sustains you as a leader, not just your team. It also helps in so many different spots of where do you want to spend your energy marketing and networking. If you know that your ideal client for your group practice likes to do things naturally, or they like to be using medication and, relying on a medical doctor, that's going to change who you're spending your energy with, your time, your money, and marketing to or networking with. If somebody wants to do it naturally, then I'm going to connect with naturopaths and physios and RMT because I know that that's where my ideal client is, versus if my ideal client likes to get a diagnosis and wants medication to help in coping with life, then I'm going to network and market more with doctors, just as an example. And it also changes the wording that you use on your website. It changes who you want to attract as a therapist to serve that ideal client. So spend some time really fleshing out, get an avatar for that ideal client. And then that moves into, similarly, who is your ideal therapist? And this is so important. I started my group practice thinking that I loved entrepreneurs. I love people who are excited to make business happen. I wanted people who are like driven and want to, just move things forward. And I do love them. And yet for my group practice, for my tolerance level, risk tolerance, for the team culture that we wanted, I actually started to realize that I wanted more people who are committed, who have a job somewhere else, but really want that culture. They want to be serving private practice clients and just using their skills in a different way. So as I started to flesh that out, I show up better and differently as a leader. So it's okay to take care of yourself as a leader. And that's actually important in order to sustain your business, in order to keep going in this role, to really dig in and identify who do you do your best work with. So again, in the group practice connection and in coaching that I do, really kind of diving in, who is your ideal therapist? So some of the questions that you want to ask is, why would this person choose your group practice over others? How do they work? Do I want them to use certain modalities? Do I not really care? Do I want them to, really participate in our team and, building, or would I prefer that they're more individuals? How much time and energy do I want to put into culture? So then that dictates what kind of people I want on my team. How do they feel about things like admin work, social media, or supervision? Do they need a lot of structure, or are they self-starters? Also kind of think about the fit for you and your team. Do you want someone who's a team player? Do you want people who are mentors? Do you want innovators who are going to think up new ideas and get new programs started? What kind of personalities energize you, and which ones feel like just a little bit too much? Identifying those people, getting clear on this, makes your hiring process, your interview process, your onboarding process so much more streamlined. You're going to write stronger job posts, you're going to conduct more aligned interviews, and you're going to build a team that feels right and is such a good fit for each other and for you as well. So here's the real talk. As the leader, you set the tone. You're building the culture. You're shaping who gets to step into your business ecosystem and how they show up. It's not about being picky or perfectionistic. It's not about being the dictator or it's my way or the highway. It's about owning your vision and creating a business that energizes you instead of drains you, which then also gives energy to your team, to your admin, to your contractors, to your employees, whoever that is, because if they see you enthusiastic about showing up at work, they're going to return that as well. Remember, you don't just work in your business, you lead it. You want to be working on your business. You want it to fulfill you. And remember why you started this business, and the team that you have really reflects that and helps you build that vision. So this week, I want you to reflect on these two questions. Who are you most lit up to work with and why? What kind of team member makes you feel like you're thriving as a leader? If you've never named it before, start now. Make a list, circle the qualities that matter the most, and this clarity is where empowered leadership begins. It really allows you to show up as the best leader possible. And in the title of this podcast, Empowered to Lead. So if I have these ideal clients and these ideal therapists, I feel empowered. I get to show up with my best foot forward and be the leader that I want to be. So that's what I want for you. That's it for today's episode, short and sweet. In Empowered to Lead, we are talking about how to show up as a leader, what kind of culture you want, how to build a sustainable, aligned, and profitable practice. So if you found this episode of Empowered to Lead helpful, share it with another group practice owner. And if you're ready to go deeper in building a sustainable, aligned, and profitable practice, come and join us inside the Group Practice Connection. Until next time, lead with intention and stay grounded in what matters most. Thanks for hanging out with me on Empowered to Lead, the therapist practice. I hope you're walking away with something that you can put into action, because leadership isn't about doing more, it's about leading with purpose. If you're ready for deeper support, I'd love to see you inside the Group Practice Connection, my monthly membership where Canadian therapists like you get coaching, community, and the tools to build a business that actually supports your life. You can check it out at grouppracticenetwork.ca. The link's in the show notes. And hey, don't forget to hit follow so you don't miss what's coming next. We're building something great here, and I'm so glad you're a part of it.